I am pleased to tender the nomination of the successor to Matthew S. Holland and a whole pantheon of great leaders that have preceded him to serve as the next president of Utah Valley University, Astrid Tuminez.
I now have superpowers. I just say, let it be done.
What was the question you were asking and what you and your students found out?
Commit to having high impact where we are not afraid to say what failed.
Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
La 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 On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I wish to welcome all of you here this morning. Isn't this a wonderful day for Utah Valley University? My name is Elaine Dalton, and I serve as chair of the Board of Trustees. Today, we're gathered in this beautiful Norda Center for the Performing Arts to celebrate an historic event, the inauguration of Dr. Astrid S. Tuminez, the 7th president of Utah Valley University. I'm absolutely thrilled that we were able to bring a little bit of President Tuminez's culture into today's festivities with that beautiful, spirited performance of Rosas Pandan by UVU's talented chamber choir under the direction of Dr. Reed Criddle. This Filipino song celebrates a mountain girl who loves to dance. And this is just so very appropriate for, as you saw in that video, President Tuminez is very much a dancing queen. I want to acknowledge the great many dignitaries and esteemed individuals present with us today. Governor Gary Herbert and First Lady Jeanette Herbert, Commissioner David Buehler, presidents of colleges and universities in the state of Utah, the Board of Regents, the Utah Legislature, President Russell M. Nelson of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Most Reverend Oscar A. Solis of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Salt Lake, and distinguished leaders of religious communities throughout the state. Thank you so much for joining us on this great day of celebration. I further want to acknowledge the past presidents of Utah Valley University, those both present and those who are here in spirit, whose leadership has been critical to us becoming the institution that we are today. I also want to give a special acknowledgement to first spouse, Jeffrey Tolk, the Tuminez Tolk children. Yes. The Tuminez Tolk children and extended members of the Tuminez Tolk family. We are so grateful that you have so lovingly shared President Tuminez with us, and that you have so proudly embraced our community of Wolverines. So thank you. Now, it has been just shy of a year since President Tuminez was named the 7th president of UVU on April 20th, 2018. And although we are just now celebrating her inauguration, President Tuminez has in no way been resting on her laurels. Even before her first official day, she traveled halfway around the world with our communication team in July to give us a glimpse of her childhood in the Philippines and her remarkable career in Singapore. In August, she won the hearts of our faculty and staff and students at convocations, forums, and kickoff events. Her first day on the job as president in mid-September marked the beginning of a 100-day listening tour where she gained a stronger understanding of what makes Utah Valley University a truly remarkable institution. Directly, she gained that from the women and men who dedicate their time and talent and passion to our students. And in her short time with us, President Tuminez has reinforced our mission of student success by challenging all of us to include and engage every student and every member of our community so that they can achieve the fullness of their personal and professional potential. She has brought to life a message that has always been central to the dual mission of our Open Admissions Regional Teaching University. Come as you are, and we will help you achieve your dreams. She has committed us to having a thriving culture of exceptional care, accountability, and results. And she has done all of this with the fierce love of a protective, proud mother Wolverine. Although throughout today's program, you will hear more about our remarkable institution from the bright young women and men selected to be members of our 2018-2019 presidential intern cohort. In pre-recorded videos, they will speak to the great traditions that have elevated our institution and introduce the select individuals who will speak to the remarkable woman who is Astrid S. Tuminez. I am delighted to introduce to you now Kandu Chaotsosang, niece of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama and preeminent member of the Buddhist community here in Utah. She will offer the invocation, the Shantidava dedication prayer. Both in conflict-ridden Tibet, Kandu was born in conflict-ridden Tibet. Kandu was forced to flee the region and become a refugee early in her life. In 1992, she and her husband, Rapton, came to Utah and began working with Utah Valley University, which was then UVSC. Throughout her life, Kandu has dedicated herself to serving Tibetan and other refugees, both here and abroad. And she has been an advocate for people with disabilities and senior citizens in Utah. She has also worked with school and community activists to foster tolerance, intercultural and religious harmony and understanding in our communities. And so it is an honor today to welcome her back to give the invocation.
Respected President Tuminez, elders, distinguished guests, dear colleagues and students, on this auspicious day, I'm honored and very humbled to be invited to recite a Buddhist prayer. This prayer was selected by President Tuminez. It was composed in the 8th century of the Christian era by a Buddhist master from the monastic University of Nalanda in India. May all sentient beings everywhere, plagued by suffering of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound to be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain to dispel the mysteries of the world. And to this prayer may I add, Amen, Amen, Amen. I'm going to offer a Tibetan traditional silk scarf woven with 8 auspicious signs into this white scarf, and it's called the kata, and Tibetans traditionally offer it on very special occasions. And I think it's a very befitting moment for me to offer this to President Tuminez, and I hope she will accept it.
Utah Valley University was founded as a Central Utah Vocational School in 1941, only a few months prior to the United States' formal entrance into World War II. It was done so in response to the national request by President Franklin D. Roosevelt to expand the defense program by training the American people for employment in industry. Thus, some of the very first programs offered were in auto mechanics, welding, aviation, and practical English.
Today, Utah Valley University is still fulfilling its role as a premier provider of technical education, but we've added traditional bachelor's and master's degrees right alongside our certificate and associate degree programs. Through our dual mission model, we serve roughly 40,000 students seeking meaningful post-secondary education. We are proud of our role as a regional teaching university, and we are committed to our mission of student success.
Utah is at the forefront of higher education, buoyed by a generous legislature, a robust education system, and exceptional leadership. UVU would not be the thriving, burgeoning institution it is without this support. We are thrilled to introduce our first set of speakers this morning. 3 impressive leaders who have been true friends of the university and advocates for President Tuminez. Governor Gary R. Herbert, Utah System of Higher Education Commissioner David Bueller, and Utah State University President Noel Cockett.
President Tuminez, honored guests, it's an honor for me to be here with you today. Most of you probably know that I was born in Utah Valley and that Orem has been my home for most of my life. As a neighbor, as a businessman, as an instructor here at the college, as Utah County Commissioner, as Lieutenant Governor, and now as Governor, I have watched with hometown pride as Utah Valley Technical College has grown from a small technical college to a community college, and from a community college into a 4-year college, and now today is the state's largest university. To say that I am enthusiastic about the success of UVU would be a gross understatement. Let me say, President Tuminez, that it is a distinct honor in behalf of 3.2 million Utahns to formally welcome you as the 7th president of this great institution of higher learning. Your exceptional accomplishments, your breadth of experience, and your unquenchable energy have prepared you to be a strong leader. You undoubtedly could have found many opportunities in the private sector or in the nonprofit sector, and I'm sure that other institutions of higher learning would have welcomed your leadership. But I believe that you are uniquely suited for this vitally important position and for this pivotal time in the development of Utah Valley University. Outside observers who only have a passing knowledge of this university and our community will undoubtedly point to your many publications and your advanced degrees from Harvard and MIT as to what qualifies you to preside over this campus. I, however, see your qualifications just a little bit differently. True, in today's academic world, it is important that you have your stellar credentials in order to wear presidential robes. But I believe that the experiences that truly qualify you for this particular post and at this particular time are, first, your childhood experiences growing up in poverty and obscurity in the Philippines. And second, your deep understanding of the rapid innovations occurring in our global commerce. This is not a traditional campus, and I don't believe it ever will be. Unlike campuses that handpick promising teenagers in ivy-covered towers during a 4-year residency, Utah Valley University says to its potential students, you already heard, young and old, welcome, and come as you are. This come as you are attitude is increasingly important for the state of Utah as UVU reaches out to underserved populations who constitute Utah's future. African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans, Pacific Islanders, adult learners, and many more. As a result, at UVU, 2 out of every 5 students are the first in their family to attend college. 2 out of every 5 students are married. 1 out of every 5 are supporting children. Half can only attend school part-time. Most hold down a job, and nearly 1/3 work full-time. The demands students face from UVU's curriculum are just one part of their complex lives, lives that are stretched by constant demands from family and employers. But you must never forget, as they shuttle between daycare, campus, and work, that one flat tire or one sick child could be the difference between holding down a job, paying this month's rent, or staying in school. That is why I submit that the lessons you learned growing up in Iloilo City in the Philippines will be more important to you as president of UVU than those lessons you learned in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Lessons about pragmatic compassion for those struggling to find a better way and determined to find a better life. The increasingly diverse mix of students coming to UVU are seeking to improve their hearts and their minds through the transformative power of education. And they are seeking to make themselves more employable and more valuable in a digitizing and globalizing economy. They are, in the words of another path-breaking university president, Joseph Ayun of Northeastern University, seeking to make themselves robot-proof. That is, employable in work that won't be taken over by robots and artificial intelligence. And that is why your experience in the competitive world of commerce is so increasingly valuable. President Tuminez, the arc of your life, from poverty and obscurity to meaningful employment and leadership in our complex global economy, is precisely the kind of arc we would like to see in the lives of your students. Obviously, you can't impose your own unique story onto your students' unique lives, but you can instill in them the desire, the motivation, and the dedication that you have had to make yourself useful to the world by continuously learning and adapting to current needs. And the same way that your most recent employer, Microsoft, has driven down the costs of computing while improving its quality year after year after year, we need to work together to find efficiencies and opportunities in how we educate and certify those who study on this campus. I'd also say to you, don't fret too much about accolades or status. I know they're important. But know that I measure Utah Valley University's success not by rankings or recognitions, but by its ability to meet students where they are and lift them to greater heights, preparing them to contribute to society and to accomplish things of which they did not know that they were capable. President Tuminez, this is an exciting time, and you are the right person for this chapter of Utah Valley University's history. I have every confidence in your success, and I join everyone here today in wishing you Godspeed in this journey. Thank you, and good luck.
Well, I'm honored to be able to share a few thoughts with you this morning at this great occasion. This week has highlighted the reality the Utah Valley University is a place where dreams can come true. We know they come true not by merely dreaming, but by acting on those dreams, putting forth the necessary effort to achieve them. We also know that we cannot achieve anything valuable in life in solitude. We each need help along the way. UVU provides some of that help along the way. At its core, UVU is a welcoming community, open to all who wish to better themselves. There is a place for you at UVU. Over the past 20 years, I have watched UVU emerge as a higher education destination in our state. UVU meets students where they are and helps them realize their own dreams for a better life. Today is an historic occasion for UVU with the inauguration of Dr. Astrid S. Tuminez as its 7th president. I've had the opportunity to get to know her over the past year or so and watch her under a number of circumstances. Let me share just a few observations. She is innovative. She is an exceptional communicator. She is kind, strong, and caring. She is a person of integrity. She expects excellence from herself and from others. Perhaps most importantly, she recognizes the potential in each and every individual to dream big. Recently, higher education experts listed 3 important qualities necessary to succeed as a university president that I'd like to share. First, flexibility. A president must be nimble intellectually and politically and able to adapt to changing priorities. A flexible president also knows how to avoid being caught in the rigidity of, we've always done it this way. Second, sustainability. Successful presidents have a solid strategic plan that details their university's short-term and long-term goals. Third, effective communication. This includes learning how to read people and paying attention to relationships. Nothing is more vital for a successful president. Now, the role of president can sometimes be just a little bit intense. The hardest decisions tend to be elevated to the top. A sense of humor can go a long way. Also, a sense of proportion, not taking yourself too seriously. President Tuminez embodies each of these attributes. I am confident that under her leadership, UVU will continue to excel as a place where students learn to achieve their dreams. Congratulations.
Good morning. I am President Noel Cockett of Utah State University. On behalf of the other presidents of our Utah higher education institutions, I'm deeply honored to participate in today's inaugural event for President Astrid Tuminez. I'm confident that a new era of greatness exists for Utah Valley University and Utah County because of the leadership of President Tuminez. I've known President Tuminez only about 8 months, but during that time, I have developed a very high and deep regard for her because of her skills, her personal warmth, her joy, as was demonstrated in that wonderful video, and her dedication to the personal and professional success of people pursuing post-secondary education. She has already shifted the culture of UVU to one that emphasizes the individual. Her rallying cry is, "I see you, and I believe in you." And this message, this attitude, is sweeping across UVU's campus through its faculty, staff, and administration. Given the incredible population explosion that Utah County is experiencing, particularly in communities of people that are underrepresented in higher education, This message of support and confidence across the campus is absolutely critical for the students and their families who pursue, enroll, and complete the certificates and degrees that are offered at UVU. President Tuminez has made a strong and broad campaign of include, engage, and achieve that underscores these principles of student success. President Tuminez enthusiastically endorses the community college mission of UVU. For some students, the community college experience will extend into bachelor's and master's that they can obtain at UVU or other institutions. While for other students, the completion of certificates and associate degrees will be their post-secondary goal. This endorsement of the community college mission is particularly music to my ears, as I fear that over the last decade, the pendulum has swung a bit too far to the notion that people are only successful if they achieve a 4-year or higher degree. My own son has struggled with this perception. After attending Utah State University for about a year, he chose to go instead to Bridgerland Technology College, where he obtained several certificates in the 900-hour welding program. At 23, he owns his own company and has 4 employees. But I think he still struggles that he has disappointed me because he hasn't obtained a college degree. Yet I know he is happy, and I am incredibly proud of his accomplishments. As President Tuminez says, elitism has no place in education. There is no right or wrong path in education, but rather the path of education should lead us to professional and personal well-being. And that is why UVU's dual mission is so critical for this region and its people. Because of her own path in life, President Tuminez will serve as a wonderfully inspirational role model, particularly for women of color. Her rise from an impoverished community in the Philippines to president of UVU will be a wonderful, wonderful inspiration. This message will be especially important here at UVU because the percentage of women who enroll and complete certificate and degrees at UVU is, I'm sorry to say, the lowest of the public institutions of higher education in Utah. President Tuminez intends to use the platform of the Women's Success Center at UVU, created in 2011, in addressing and shifting these percentages. Just as there is no right or wrong path in education, there is no right or wrong path for a university presidency. However, President Tuminez's path is somewhat atypical. She has had a highly successful career in political science and technology in the corporate world, most recently as an executive with Microsoft, where she led corporate, external, and legal affairs for Southeastern Asia. This experience in technology is incredibly important for UVU and the Utah system of higher education. President Tuminez has repeatedly encouraged the Council of Presidents of USHE to stretch our minds on how technology can shape Utah's future in higher education. The paths are twofold. Technology in learning is critical for our current and future students. It's how they learn and how they expect to learn. Secondly, technology can revolutionize our campuses in their processes, decisions, and innovations. I know President Tuminez will serve as the Council of Presidents leader, our expert and our coach in using technology in Utah's future for higher education. When the announcement was made of President Tuminez's appointment at UVU, there was a great deal of excitement across Utah. This meant that 5 of the 10 higher education institutions in the state would be led by female presidents, compared to the national average of 30% for higher education presidents being female. The 5 of us, sometimes referred to as the Mighty 5, were invited on panels and highlighted in news and magazine articles. I do recognize that this is an affirmative action accomplishment that the state of Utah should be proud of, but I do not believe that our appointments were because of an affirmative action goal. Instead, I believe we were selected because of the leadership style that we share. We are inclusive, and we get the right people around the table, regardless of their rank or title. We seek broad input, which then leads to broad support for the decisions that we make. The newest generations of employees and the emerging generations of students are particularly supportive of this type of leadership, and hence the wide recognition of our appointments. I encourage all of you in the audience, obviously supporters and enthusiastic of the appointment of President Tuminez, as evidenced by your presence today, to take advantage of our leadership approach. Get involved, be part of the conversation on the future of UVU. Have input on the direction that it goes, but most importantly, support President Tuminez and her administration as they expand and refine the mission of Utah Valley University and who it serves. I'll now conclude with a simple statement that I believe very, very firmly. The future of Utah Valley University, and therefore Utah County and the state of Utah, is very bright because of the appointment of President Astrid Tuminez as the UVU president. Thank you.
At its creation, UVU sought to fulfill the immediate educational needs of the community. As we have grown as an institution, we have continued to meet these needs, creating ever more certificates and degrees to address the changing economic realities of Utah Valley. But in serving the educational needs of the Valley, we have also recognized that we are partners in a multifaceted effort to improve the lives of all those in our community. Through generous donors and sponsors, we've been able to offer resources to our community that are changing the way families interact with each other, knowledge is shared, and the cultural arts explored and reveled in.
Resources like the Melissa Nelson Center for Autism, the Barbara Barrington Jones We Care Center, and the Norda Center for the Performing Arts enrich our community in meaningful ways. We are grateful for the donors and partners that have made them possible. As UVU has become a vital part of the community, our efforts have been championed and supported by the USHE Board of Regents. So much of our success is due to their advocacy of our mission. As such, we are delighted to introduce Mr. Harris Simmons, Chairman of Zions Bank Corporation and Chair of the Board of Regents, who will present the charge to and investiture of President Tuminez.
This is indeed a very joyous day. The Board of Regents undertook an extensive and rigorous process to find the 7th president of Utah Valley University. A 24-member search committee, co-chaired by Regent Stephen Lund and Trustee Chair Elaine Dalton, had the responsibility of recommending several highly qualified candidates to the Board of Regents. The committee included representatives of the Board of Regents, Board of Trustees, administration, faculty, students, alumni, supporters, and community members. Utah Valley University attracted a number of highly qualified candidates from across the nation. Ultimately, the committee considered 41 candidates. The Board of Regents added a new feature to the search process at the encouragement of UVU faculty and staff. We held public forums with each of the finalists to provide broader input. Out of this extensive process, it became clear that we had a rare opportunity to appoint a truly inspirational leader. Dr. Astrid S. Tuminez brings to the position of president incredible talent, energy, and experience not only in academia but in the corporate world. She also brings to this position a compelling life story that is already inspiring the very students we need to serve to build Utah's economy in the future. She's a perfect fit for UVU now and for the future. President Tuminez, we also want to recognize and thank your incredibly supportive spouse, Jeffrey Tulk, your daughter Michael, and sons Whitman and Leo. We're grateful that they were each willing to make the move from Singapore to Orem. And we wish your entire family great success and much happiness here in your new home. Please know of the support of the Regents and our highest regard as you lead this great university. It's now my responsibility and privilege to deliver to you a formal charge on behalf of the Utah Board of Regents. President Tuminez, I draw your attention to 4 areas of focus as you define your agenda, as you set priorities and meet the challenges ahead. First, include all who can benefit from Utah Valley University. UVU is an institution where all students may excel regardless of who they are, where they come from, or their previous preparation. This is just as important for the recent high school graduate seeking a skill as it is for a returning adult looking to complete a degree. As our state grows more diverse, supporting all Utahns in their dreams of higher education is more important than ever. Keeping UVU affordable is part of your mission, as is continuing to help more students complete a certificate or degree. In the end, your own success will be but a reflection of the success of the growing number of graduates of Utah Valley University. Second, support and strengthen UVU's dual mission, keeping the community college role within a comprehensive regional university. This provides students with a full range of educational opportunities. You're located in one of the fastest growing regions of the state and nation. In the past 4 years, UVU's enrollment has grown from 31,000 to 40,000. Conservative projections are that the university will increase to over 51,000 by the year 2027. As UVU grows in numbers, continued student engagement is critical to meet individual students' needs. Engaged learning is part of UVU's fabric and deserves continued emphasis. Third, prepare students to achieve their dreams and excel in an increasingly competitive global economy. The pace of change in our economy and in our society is accelerating. Many of yesterday's jobs no longer exist, and the jobs of the future may be hard to imagine today. And yet, if we are perceptive, we can glimpse future needs, technical skills, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration, along with a firm grounding in ethics and integrity. Together, these skills and tools will provide our state with expertly trained and well-rounded graduates. UVU is well positioned to be particularly responsive to the marketplace. If students are to achieve, it is incumbent upon you, with the support of a great faculty and staff, to be responsive to the needs of our state. And fourth, the Board of Regents is looking for you to not only lead here, but to be a leader of higher education in our state. Continue and build upon strong collaborations with partners in K-12 and Mountain Land Technical College. Work closely with the Commissioner of Higher Education and collaboratively with the other college and university presidents. Engage with legislators, with the governor, and other community leaders. Each of these interactions will benefit and strengthen not only Utah Valley University, but our entire higher education system and state. President Tuminez, you set the tone and standard for this great institution. Your warmth, accessibility, and seemingly boundless energy will continue to serve you well. As a leader of strong character, integrity, intellect, and ability, you have our full confidence and support as you build upon Utah Valley University's legacy of student success. President Astrid S. Tuminez, would you please join me at the podium? Congratulations.
Thank you. It's heavy.
UVU is a remarkable place to gain an education. On a daily basis, we as students are encouraged to dream in a supportive culture of exceptional care, accountability, and results that seeks to ensure that we succeed. When we walked onto this campus, UVU made a commitment to us that it would include each and every one of us, engage our minds and our hearts in a holistic education, and give us every opportunity to achieve. It also promised to share with us through exceptional teaching and engaged learning a world of knowledge and understanding that many of us had only just barely glimpsed.
How appropriate then that the Ira A. Fulton Library houses one of the most beautiful and remarkable testaments to the full scope of the history of humanity's search for knowledge, the Roots of Knowledge stained glass windows. One of the great treasures of the Roots of Knowledge is that it demonstrates so clearly that wisdom and understanding comes in every form imaginable, from every individual we meet. The people with whom we interact on a daily basis can have just as much influence on the way we understand the world as the greatest philosophers and scientists of the past and present.
These quiet, seemingly ordinary interactions transform us for the better and make us the people we are today. It is with great happiness, then, that we introduce our last set of speakers, two individuals who have had a profound impact on President Tuminez's life in ways both large and small. Dr. Gary L. Browning, Professor Emeritus of Russian at Brigham Young University, and Michael Toke, daughter of President Tuminez and first spouse, Jeffrey Toke.
Dear Utah Valley University and colleagues, as requested, I will be speaking primarily, but not only, to UVU students. I would like to say at the beginning that I admire and respect you very much. I have learned something about your sacrifices, your commitment, and your just plain grit in getting educated. And I'm proud of you and pleased for you and congratulate you. As you continue to do your part over the years while you are affiliated with UVU, you will gain impressive strengths in such areas as technical education, science, the arts and humanities, and other similarly important disciplines. But no matter what major you choose, you will be much better fitted for all aspects of life if you wrap your knowledge and skills around an inner core of integrity. History repeatedly teaches us that knowledge and skills without integrity rather quickly become degrading and not ennobling. Integrity does not yield easily to a crisp and comprehensive definition. Dictionaries often give honesty as a synonym for integrity. Honesty is an important component. However, integrity is much more, including, but not limited to, character traits such as those possessed by Abraham Lincoln, who typically was considered honorable, honest, trustworthy, generous, even-handed, courageous, moral, humble, steadfast, and devoted to high aspirations. To illustrate the substance of integrity, I would like to describe briefly Desmond Doss, a real-life person portrayed in the recent film entitled Hacksaw Ridge. This film definitely is for mature audiences, owing mainly to graphic war scenes, which the film implicitly denounces. As a boy, Desmond witnessed terrible family and community violence, and over time, resolutely disavowed all forms and manifestations of violence. During the Second World War, many of Desmond's school buddies enlist, fight, and some die in combat. Some within his Seventh-day Adventist religious community are legally exempted from fighting because they truly are conscientious objectors. But Desmond cannot stand by while his friends and others perish. He chooses to enlist, but as an army medic who will strive to save lives rather than take them. At boot camp, Desmond will not train with a gun and is repeatedly called a coward, and once asleep in bed is viciously beaten by several fellow soldiers. At the time of Desmond's first battle, named Hacksaw Ridge, he, unarmed, constantly risked his life to attend to the wounded soldiers lying on the battlefield. At the end of the first terrible day of fighting, the order came for his unit to return to base camp and get ready for the next day's battle. Desmond, however, does not leave the battlefield. All night long, alone, he searches for more wounded Americans who, if left unattended, would almost certainly bleed to death within hours. After quickly bandaging wounds, Desmond carries and later, exhausted, drags his fellow soldiers one by one to a high, sheer cliff, from which he lowers them with a makeshift rope and pulley system to astonished fellow soldiers below. During that long night, Desmond, repeating to himself after lowering each soldier, "Just one more," saves the lives of 75 Americans. Later, soldiers from Desmond's unit, including some who had abused him cruelly during boot camp, stand at awe at his heroism. One of the officers explains why Desmond behaves as he does. That's just who he is. They recognize Desmond in general embodies core qualities of integrity. Like Lincoln, he too is honorable, honest, trustworthy, generous, even-handed, courageous, humble, moral, steadfast, and devoted to noble aspirations. While here at UVU, together with your acquisition of essential knowledge and skills, it would be well to observe and learn from those in any position, from your exemplary president to the newest bewildered freshman, how you can become ever better women and men of integrity. Warm best wishes to you for success here at UVU in your thrilling journey. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for having me here today to celebrate this school and for the opportunity to tell you all just a little bit about how awesome my mom is. I'm humbled and honored and happy to be here today. Since I arrived here in Utah a few months ago, I've been so impressed and inspired by the people I've met here, the stories I've heard, and by the supportive and diverse culture of this university. And I've loved watching my mother shine as she stepped into her new role here. And even though ever since I hit puberty, she's had to look up to see me, I've always looked up to her in spirit. A couple months ago, we had a group of state legislators over to the house for dinner, and one of them asked me if I had any embarrassing stories about my mother to share. It was a question asked in good humor, but it threw me off. Do I have any embarrassing stories about my mother to share? After careful consideration, I realized that I don't. And not because she doesn't ever get into funny situations. Like whenever we play card games at home, she tends to laugh so hard that the tears start to flow. But because she's so confident and brave that she's able to handle just about any situation with great courage and class. One of my mom's favorite quotes is a scripture verse from 2 Timothy. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. I believe this perfectly encapsulates her approach to life, one of fearlessness and love. My mother has always been fearless in trying new things. Since she was a young student, she's been an avid traveler, eager to learn about different places, cultures, and people. In fact, moving to Utah has been a bit of a culture shock for my family. Learning to deal with the excessive friendliness and copious amounts of sugar shared with us. And adjusting to our first full winter after 12 years in the tropics, driving on the wrong side of the road. The last time my mom drove regularly was back in Hong Kong more than 10 years ago, where she had to navigate winding, narrow roads around hillsides right by the sea. And even though these days she always says a little prayer before and after driving anywhere, my mom has leaned into driving and all the new elements of living here with great bravery. My mom has also always been fearless in defending what's right. Whether she was lobbying for an end to the nuclear arms race in Washington as a young student, confronting rooms of chauvinist colleagues in the Soviet Union while running the Harvard Project on strengthening democratic institutions, or just standing up to rude people in Hong Kong who would assume she was a maid, she's always been fearless in standing firm for what she believes is right. She's also fearless in showing her love and support. Whenever I or my brothers have had performances and competitions, my mom has been right there with us, supporting and cheering us on. And at this point, I think she's basically adopted all of the students here. If you ever attend a sports game, you're more than likely to see my mom right out there in the front row, waving her pom-poms wildly and shouting each student's name and cheering with all her might. As students, my mom is really your biggest fan. And she believes deeply not just in the mission of this university, but in all of you, and will fearlessly work to support you in achieving your dreams. Of course, fearlessness may not be the most accurate word, fearless. My mom is human and feels stress and fear just like anyone else. If you're ever in the car while she's driving on the freeway, you'll see exactly what I mean. And running a university is a pretty big job, too. But even up against these challenges, large and small, I've seen her remain confident, strong, and full of hope, rising above and even thriving in the face of fear. We all confront fear in our lives, the unfamiliar and the unknown, but it's the attitude we bring that makes all the difference. My mother has taught me that this attitude is a choice, that we all have the inner power to choose to be positive and brave. Mom, it's been so inspiring watching you lead here, not just for me, but for the whole community. And I'm really grateful for any fierceness that I've inherited from you. I'm so proud of you, and I know that you'll continue to help this university grow with great fearlessness and love. I love you. Thank you all.
And I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can
can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. Oh, we can live in a world that we design.
There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away.
Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile.
On a rainy day.
They can say we all sound crazy. Yes. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. No.
On our way to a world that we desire. However small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see. To the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I want the world to be a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
For the world we're gonna make.
What an absolutely beautiful tribute to President Tuminez, who dreams, and dreamed as a young girl. It was a tribute both in words from our distinguished speakers and now in song by this chamber choir. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with the film, The Greatest Showman, and the song, A Million Dreams. It has such a poignant message for this inauguration and the tenure of President Tuminez. So thank you all for reminding us what a tremendous blessing President Tuminez is to Utah Valley University. Now it's my pleasure to introduce to you 4 student athletes who know firsthand what it means to receive support from the president of this university, President Tuminez. Josie Williams, Kansna Tarufiti, Matthew Finlay, and Tanner Orndorff.
At our recent Women's Basketball Mentor Dinner, I was lucky enough to take a photo with President Tuminez that she later posted to social media with the caption, "Tall or small, Wolverines are fierce." President Tuminez may only be 4'10", but she is a giant in our eyes. 4'11". She provides exceptional care to every athlete that attends UVU and truly invests in each of our athletic programs. Seeing President Tuminez with her pom-poms at our home games means the world to me personally and to our team. She is the ultimate mentor for us as female student athletes, something that I know Kansna believes as well.
I do. The women's volleyball team has experienced this exceptional care as well. Even though she's brand new to the university, she was present at so many of our matches, cheering us on and shouting, "Kill it," at the top of her lungs. As Josie noted, she's been such a huge advocate for us all on social media, showering us with little green hearts and really underscoring just how much she learns from us as student athletes, who try always to give all that we have on the court. To hear her say that is really special because she is such a tremendous example to me of what a woman can accomplish with persistence, grit, and faith.
For the men's wrestling program, it's been no different. At nearly every home meet, we have heard her clear as a bell, "Come on, Matt," or "Tanner, you're a champion." As we watch our teammates from the corners of the mats, we see President Tuminez down on the ground, slapping the mat, jumping up and down with excitement as one of our wrestlers, puts another man back down. And at times, we've all thought, she's just going to jump right on the mat and tag team in. Sometimes we could use that. I can assure you that at every single one of our meets, President Tuminez is a fierce Wolverine, and we couldn't be prouder to have her love and support.
That's why today, Matt, Kansna, Josie, and I want to return the enthusiastic support. Though she's not out making baskets or spiking a ball or wrestling an opponent to the mat, she's out there giving 150% to ensure that each and every student at UVU succeeds. She's every bit a true champion in our eyes. So I'd like to ask each of you to reach under your seats and pull out your pom-poms. Please join us in welcoming to the stage for inaugural address the 7th President of UVU, Dr. Astrid S. Tuminez.
It is after 12 noon, so I'm going to say good afternoon. Really, seriously, the pom-poms are the best part of today's inauguration. I feel that we should just say amen and leave this hall. But I do have a short speech to give. So it takes a village. Good afternoon, and thank you. Thank you to all of you who have traveled from near and far to celebrate my inauguration today, and more importantly, to celebrate Utah Valley University. Thank you to my leaders, my administration, my faculty, staff, and students. There are people who have not slept at all week to prepare for this inauguration and for a successful opening of the Norda Center for the Performing Arts. So let's give them a big hand. The story of Utah Valley University began in a village called Provo, and this institution started life as a small and scrappy technical college. After World War II, many of the instructors who taught at the college could have returned to more lucrative jobs, but they didn't because they believed in the mission of the college. And this college did not always get the respect that it deserved. However, it persisted and persevered, and as you heard today, it is now the largest university in the state of Utah. Applause. Of course, this magic couldn't have happened without the support of leaders and so many people from villages near and far, from Provo, Orem, Salt Lake, and farther afield. So I want to thank our legislature. I want to thank the governor and the governor's office. I want to thank the Board of Trustees, the Board of Regents, our commissioner, and our wonderful community that has been here to support this university. I want to thank in particular my predecessors, some of whom are here today, and yesterday I exchanged text messages with President Holland. I stand on the shoulders of giants, and I'm so grateful for my predecessors and President Holland in particular, who oversaw and led the transition of UVU into a full university. Like UVU, I started life in a somewhat remote village called Pali. I was delivered by a half-blind male midwife. He wasn't really a midwife, he moonlighted as a midwife. And 6th child of what would be 7 children for my mother pretty soon. And when the small crew at UVU and I visited the village last June, we stumbled upon the husband of my second cousin who was plowing the rice field with his water buffalo. Life was very difficult and is very difficult in this village. Lucky for my family, we had a mother and have a mother. She's now 85, a young woman. My mother was a woman with dreams, and she wanted her children to have more opportunity, so of course she did what was the right thing to do and move us to the slums of the city. That's the hut where I grew up. That's me with my face on my hands, and that's my neighborhood during high tide. In this neighborhood, where the average earnings were probably less than $1 a day, I learned to let my imagination and my dreams run wild and go free. It was a home with no electricity, no water, no radio, no television, no books, so hardly any external stimulation, and you had to create it in your mind. But I was very grateful for this, and the trajectory of my life changed when I was 5 years old. This young nun, beautiful nun, I wanted to be a nun, Sister Elvira Correa in her early 20s, was doing service work in the slums and found my family and invited me and my siblings to attend their school for free. Sister Elvira and the nuns and my early teachers were the magicians and alchemists who turned the natural metal, the ordinary metal of my brain, into gold. On the left side is my 1st and 2nd grade teacher, Miss Turiha, who transformed me from literally an illiterate 5-year-old into a voracious reader. And she also transformed me from the girl who sat in the 6th seat, 6th row, reserved for the dumbest girl, to the girl in the 1st seat, 1st row, in a matter of months. And the teacher on the right was my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Elsie Garcia Abuel. She was the most beautiful and most accomplished teacher in the school, and she took a personal interest in me. By doing so, she had an immeasurable impact on my self-esteem. To this day, I have a very healthy and deep love and respect for teachers. My family was a huge influence on my life. My older sisters were examples of hard work, honesty, creativity. My sister made this dress. creativity, and feistiness. I was number 6. If I didn't learn to speak really loud while everybody else was speaking, I never got heard. And my father was a man of few words, but he had dreams also. I learned a lot of cuss words from him because he learned English from American GIs in World War II. He didn't say much, but the one thing he said a lot that I'll always remember is he would say, "Do the right thing." And of course, my village of faith is really a huge foundation for what I have become. I am grateful today that President Russell Nelson is here of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the Reverend Oscar Solis of the Catholic Diocese of Salt Lake. My faith was such that to this day, I have allowed myself a very healthy respect for the mysteries of the universe and Godhood and an abiding awe for the divine potential of every individual. Thank you. And I have been fortunate to have been blessed with a village of mentors at Brigham Young University, where I went as an 18-year-old student, at Harvard and MIT, and in the last 26 years in New York City, in Hong Kong, and in Singapore. These men and women have been amazing academic and professional mentors and real models of striving, excellence, and service. I am so grateful for them. Of course, the village that is hardest and also the best is my family. Somebody once said that if you've never been humbled, you've never been a parent. So would my 2 boys over there please stand? And my daughter Michael. Sit down. These are the kids who keep me humble and grounded on a daily basis. And I want to thank my husband, Jeffrey S. Tolk, my partner in 30 years. My partner in 30 years of really great conversation. And I believe that is what a good marriage is a good conversation. And Jeff is the single most unreserved champion and believer in my dreams. So thank you, honey. And you don't have to speak, by the way. They announced you, but you don't have to speak. So now we come to the village of Wolverines. I love this picture. Look at all that green. 40,000 strong. And 6 months into this presidency, I have a keen appreciation for what newly inaugurated Harvard President Lawrence Bacow said at his own inauguration. For the first time in my life, people are actually questioning the value of sending a child to college. People are asking whether or not colleges and universities are worthy of public support. People are expressing doubts about whether colleges and universities are even good for the nation. Not only is it a tough time today in higher education, but we live in a world of tremendous change, great unpredictability, and highly disruptive technology. In this context, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of education and experience will help our students become more skilled, more confident, more resilient, more kind, more ethical, honest, and empathetic? I believe that UVU does not have all the answers, but a few good answers to these questions. These questions may in fact be boiled down to what the writer Malcolm Gladwell posed as the question of capitalizing human capital. What percentage of those who are capable of achieving something actually achieve it? I started life as a statistic, and I would have been a statistic had people not helped me. So the first answer that UVU puts out there is that we are open admission. We don't have admission scandals here. We mean it when we say, come as you are, UVU has a place for you. Let me illustrate how powerful this is with the story of my nephew-in-law, Fabio. Fabio came to Utah as a 3-year-old immigrant from Brazil. He always thought that when he grew up, he would become a construction worker like his father. But then one of his ecclesiastical leaders encouraged him to try college. Having never taken the ACT or the SAT, he came to UVU, open admission, mistakenly enrolled himself in a pre-med biology class, got accepted to New York Cornell Medical School, completed a residency in Rochester, New York, and today Fabio is a full-fledged cardiothoracic surgeon in Irvine, California. Not everybody will become a cardiothoracic surgeon like Fabio, and that's the second beauty of Utah Valley University. We have a dual mission where we unabashedly combine and integrate the openness, rigor, and richness of two types of institutions, a full university and a community college. You want to cook? Come here. You want to fly a plane? Come here. You want to study philosophy? Come here. You want to get a master's in cybersecurity? Come here. You can start with a year, build your confidence, stack on that degree, and carry on. I believe this is a model that is very appropriate at a time when society is more divided and when we have more severe inequality. So the dual mission is fantastic for us. Third, at UVU, we understand that it's all about people. My leadership team is standing here in the first few rows. These are people who come to work every day, prepared to do more, to serve more, and to lead more effectively. Our faculty are amazing. Last year, the New York Times featured research that our faculty member, Eric Domian, had done on penguin paternity. Penguins are supposed to mate for life, but when they did the genetic testing of the offspring, they found out that penguins were human also. And the two professors on the other side of the lower left side of the slide, Jessica Hill and Russell Warney, last year 4,000 scholarly articles were published in the field of psychology, and the 8th most downloaded article was by these two professors from Utah Valley University. It's about how human intelligence is taught in psychology textbooks. Now, what is amazing is that these professors, in their research, they involved students from data gathering to writing the paper to presenting the results. This is what we call engaged teaching and engaged learning, and I believe it is the right model for the world that we live in today. Please clap for our professors. We have amazing staff here who work with great skill, passion, and dedication, and are always prepared to go the extra mile. It is my job as president to make sure that they don't get burnt out. Our students, my greatest love in this university are my students. Sorry, faculty, you're only second. My students are so amazing. As you heard already from other speakers, we have a non-traditional student body here. The first time, full-time, 4-year university student is a minority at UVU. 77% of our students work, 38% are first generation, 21% are supporting at least one child. These students embody the ideals of persistence, excellence, and hard work. And they win so many things. The ROTC Ranger Challenge here on the upper left, Regional Student Chef of the Year, Cybersecurity Collegiate Contest. Our team's in the red ties, and they're not University of Utah students. They actually beat 450 other colleges and universities in a social innovation contest that was conducted at Oxford University. So these students constantly punch above their weight. And you've already heard about my love for the student athletes. They inspire me every day to do hard things. And yes, I have to control myself during the wrestling matches. But this young man, Demetrius Romero, just made history for us by winning, by being a champion at the Big 12 wrestling contest just this month. So Demetrius, thank you. And his colleague Matt Findlay, who spoke here earlier, was honored in front of 18,000 fans recently in Pittsburgh for being the wrestler with the highest GPA in the NCAA. His GPA is 3.94. Try to beat that. And he is not taking easy classes. He's a major in biology and a minor in Russian. So what do I want to do and what do I understand as my mission 6 months now into the presidency? At UVU, under my presidency, we will continue to focus on student success, which I define as a completed credential or degree and a holistic education that prepares our students for a productive, dignified, and well-lived life. And what values will get us there? Our first foundational value is exceptional care. We must begin by seeing one another for who we really are. We must begin by respecting and appreciating our differences, our dreams, our challenges, and our aspirations. Our second foundational value is exceptional accountability. We are going to behave ethically, we are going to work hard, and we are going to have ferocious but kind conversations at this university. Our third foundational value is exceptional results. We have made a lot of progress in the last 10 years on graduation and completion rates, but we have a lot more to do. We must obsess about this. We have made a lot of progress in the last 10 years on including people who have been historically underrepresented or marginalized, but we have so much more to do. We are very proud that among four-year institutions in Utah, UVU is now the biggest educator of Latinos. And given that the state is now 14% Latino, this is a critical part of what we're going to do. I am also very proud, having worked in the business world and on Wall Street, that we have a nice return on investment for our students who come here. At 5.3, UVU has the highest ratio of salary to average annual cost of education after graduation, and we graduate them really, really young. We put them to work right away. I also have ambitions with technology. I believe that with digital transformation, we will be able to do what we need to do better, faster, cheaper, and hopefully in more delightful ways. So we will be working on technology. You have heard some of the verbs that will be core themes of my administration. Include, we will stay committed to our open admission policy. Engage, we will continue our work in engaged teaching and learning and really exposing our students to the practical applications of what they are learning at the university. But by engage, I also mean that I, my cabinet, the students, the staff, administration, and faculty, that we will all come every day to Utah Valley University with our best selves, with our best ideas, and with our best energy. And finally, we will not be embarrassed or afraid to achieve, because I know in my heart and in my gut that we can do that we will achieve great things. In the villages that my mother and father grew up in, there's a tradition of bayanihan or heroism. When you needed to move your hut someplace, your fellow villagers would show up and literally move you to where you need to go. So let me repeat Malcolm Gladwell's question. What percentage of those who are capable of achieving something actually achieve it? You and I and all the supporters of UVU are in the business of people and their dreams. It is a sacred business, and it takes a village to get it done. This is UVU. We are education for the 21st century. We need the whole village to help us. You are our village. Please work with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Tuminez, for inspiring us with your words today and your example. Thank you so much. She is a great leader. Thank you for giving us renewed joy and confidence in your tenure here at Utah Valley University. And as our president, we are absolutely behind you 100%. So thank you. I personally was elated when you were named as president nearly a year ago, and I'm even more elated today, having witnessed your leadership in action and the great love you have for our students. I want to express my sincere gratitude again to all those who've joined us today, particularly Governor Herbert, Commissioner Bueller, and the distinguished education, legislative, and religious leaders of our community.